At my retirement party, I announced I was finally moving to Italy. My son looked stunned. Later that night, he asked, "So, who's getting the house?" I told him I planned to sell it. He didn't speak to me for days. Then one morning, I woke up to an email saying my house was listed on Zillow by him. "You weren't doing anything with it," he said. I thought I'd get ahead of things. I called the realtor. Then I called my lawyer. But what I did next left him speechless. I didn't plan on having a dramatic retirement. I'm not that kind of person. My name's Harold, I'm 68, and until last month, I taught American history at a public high school in Chattanooga. I was the kind of guy who never missed a day of work, brought the same lunch every day, and paid my bills early. People used to say I was predictable in a good way. My wife, Connie, passed away in 2019 from breast cancer. After that, it was just me in the house. Our son, Mark, lives across town. He visits when he wants something. Before Connie died, we talked about moving to Europe when we retired. It was a dream that felt too far away while we raised a kid and worked full-time. But after she was gone, I started thinking about it more. Maybe it was my way of still holding onto a piece of her. We always said Italy, maybe Palermo or Naples, somewhere close to the sea. I didn't tell anyone about my plans, not even Mark, until my retirement party. It was a simple thing. Small buffet at Lakeside Grill. Some of the teachers, old neighbors, a few past students came by to say goodbye. Mark showed up late, didn't bring anything, just stood by the shrimp tray. When it was time for my little speech, I kept it short. After 42 years in the classroom, I'm finally retiring. And I've decided to move to Italy. One-way ticket 2 weeks from now. There were a few gasps and claps. Someone shouted, "You deserve it." I smiled. Felt a little lighter for the first time in years. Then I glanced at Mark. He was frozen. Not smiling. Not clapping. Just staring at me like I'd slapped him. Later, after most of the guests had left and we were out in the parking lot, he walked up beside me and lit a cigarette. He quit years ago, or so I thought. "So," he said, exhaling smoke, "who's getting the house?" I blinked. "What? The house?" he repeated. Like I didn't hear him right. "When you move, who's getting it?" I told him, "I'm not giving it to anyone. I'm planning to rent it for now. Eventually, I'll probably sell it." He didn't say anything after that. Just walked to his car and drove off. Didn't text me. Didn't call. Not even a safe flight message when I sent him my itinerary. 5 days later, I woke up early like always. Made my coffee. Checked my email. That's when I saw it. Subject: Your Zillow listing is live. Your home is now visible to thousands of buyers. I felt my heart pound as I clicked the link. My house. My damn house. Listed. For sale by owner. With pictures from inside my bedroom, my office, the garden. Even the one framed photo I hadn't packed yet. All posted publicly. It said, "Charming 3-bedroom near the lake. Price to sell fast. Flexible closing. Owner is ready to move." I dropped my coffee mug. I called Mark right away. He picked up like nothing was wrong. "Hey, you want to explain why my house is on Zillow?" Pause. "I thought I'd help you get ahead of things," he said. "You what?" "I figured since you were leaving, we might as well list it now. Market's hot. You don't own this house." "I'm your son," he said, as if that was a reason. "It's going to be mine one day anyway." "I never said that." "Well, you're not doing anything with it." I couldn't believe it. I'd raised him better than this. At least I thought I had. I hung up on him. I couldn't even speak. Called the number on the listing. A young woman named Ashley answered. I told her to take it down. She sounded confused. "Your son said you wanted to expedite the sale." "I never gave permission. He doesn't own it. Take it down immediately or I'll sue." She paused. "Yes, sir." "Understood." Then I called my lawyer. Gerald Price. Old friend. Quiet guy but sharp as hell. We met that afternoon. I brought the printed Zillow page and every paper showing my name as sole owner. "I want to make sure Mark can't touch it," I told him. We set up a living trust that same week. I named my friend June as the trustee. She's a tough woman, divorced twice, no family to pressure her, and loyal to a fault. The kind of person who doesn't cave under threats or sob stories. Once the house was in the trust, I signed a lease agreement with a retired couple from Ohio who wanted to rent it long-term. They paid 6 months in advance. The place was off the market before Mark even knew it. Then I got on that plane. 2 weeks into my stay in Palermo, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. It was Mark. Why is there a car in the driveway? Because someone lives there. You rented it? Yes. You didn't tell me. You didn't ask. This is unbelievable. You're right, I said. It is unbelievable that you try to sell my home without even talking to me. There was silence. Then he hung up. I didn't hear from him for 2 months. When I posted a picture of myself in Sicily, wine in hand, ocean behind me with the caption, "Some inherit houses. Others inherit silence," he didn't comment, but I know he saw it. 3 months after I moved to Palermo, I was finally settling in. I rented a small apartment with a view of the water, got used to walking everywhere, and even started learning Italian. It wasn't the easiest change, but it felt right. Peaceful. Like I'd stepped out of the version of my life where I was just waiting to die. Then Mark emailed me. Subject, "Can we talk?" All it said was, "I know we've had our issues, but I really think we should clear the air. Maybe come back for the holidays? We can talk like family." That was the first olive branch he extended. But I didn't trust it. Not after what he did. Still, I replied. Short and direct. If you want to clear the air, start by apologizing for trying to sell a house you don't own. He didn't respond. A week later, I got another email. This one wasn't from him, it was from my bank. "Your online account password has been changed." That sent my stomach straight to the floor. I called the bank immediately. "Did you request this change?" The rep asked. "No. We see that someone tried logging in multiple times from a different IP address. Then they used the forgot password tool, and it was reset using your recovery email." I had used an old joint email Connie and I shared for recovery purposes. I never bothered to change it after she passed, but I had given Mark access to it years ago when he was still in college and needed help with his FAFSA. Now I realized the trust came back to bite me. I changed everything, passwords, bank logins, closed a few accounts. I set up 2-factor authentication and contacted my lawyer again. "This is turning into something bigger," I told Gerald. He nodded. "You want to go nuclear?" "Not yet, but close." He gave me a folder. Inside were copies of the trust agreement, a revised will, and a letter I had written before I left, leaving clear instructions that the house and any money from its sale would go to a charity if Mark ever contested the documents or tried anything illegal. I had it notarized, sealed, filed. Then I waited. A month later, Mark tried again. This time, he emailed me a long message full of fake warmth. "Dad, listen. I know I messed up. I panicked. You were just gone so fast, and I felt like you were leaving everything behind. I thought I was helping. Please, can we reset?" He ended with a line that made my blood boil. "Maybe I overstepped with the house. But you were gonna sell it anyway, right?" That was it. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about misunderstanding. It was entitlement. So I did something drastic. I asked Gerald to draft a document officially naming the renters Martha and Jim Robinson as beneficiaries of the house upon my death on the condition they keep renting it and maintaining it for the next 5 years. It was legal. Unusual, but legal. I told them the truth over a Zoom call. "I don't have family I trust anymore," I said. "But you too? You've taken care of that house better than anyone has in years." They cried. Martha offered to bake me something and ship it overseas. I laughed and told her not to waste the postage. Then I wrote one last letter. Not to Mark, but about him. A full summary of everything he had tried, the fake Zillow listing, the password changes, the manipulative emails. I printed it, signed it, and gave it to Gerald with instructions to deliver it to the charity I'd chosen, an education fund for kids with cancer, if Mark ever tried to contest the will or sue after I'm gone. I told Gerald this way if he tries to steal again, the whole story goes public. He looked at me for a long time. "You're serious?" "I am." Mark thought silence meant weakness. What he didn't realize was that silence can be protection. A warning. A loaded gun with the safety off. I haven't heard from him since. But something tells me this isn't over. About 4 months into my new life in Palermo, I started hearing from an old neighbor back in Chattanooga, Lenny. He was a retired mechanic, lived 2 houses down from mine. Good guy. Looked out for me when Connie got sick. He sent me a photo one morning. It was my old house. Parked in the driveway? Mark's truck. Lenny's message said, "Hey Harold. Didn't know you were back in town? Saw your boy over here a few times last week. Figured he had keys?" No, he didn't. I emailed the property manager. She said the tenants were out visiting family and wouldn't be back for 2 more days. So Mark was entering the property while they were gone. I told her to call the police and file a trespassing report. But here's where it really turned. The tenants, Martha and Jim, came home to find that several boxes they'd stored in the garage had been opened. Things moved around. Nothing stolen, but enough to make them feel watched. I sent them money for a security system the next day. Top of the line. Cameras, motion sensors, remote locks. We installed it that weekend. I gave them full control. I also had Gerald file a restraining order against Mark on their behalf, backed by the trespassing report and camera footage. A week later, the footage caught Mark again, trying the door. When it didn't open, he walked around back. Cops picked him up 2 blocks away. But he didn't go to jail. Not yet. The police said it was first offense territory. A warning. That warning should have been enough. But Mark wasn't wired for limits. 2 weeks after that, I got a strange charge on my credit card from a Nashville tech store. I hadn't used that card in over a year. I checked the account. Turns out he'd tried using my info to buy a used MacBook. This time I pressed charges. Identity theft. I didn't feel guilty. He wasn't a kid anymore, he was 37. A grown man who decided that stealing from his father was easier than working for a life of his own. And then came the biggest twist. One afternoon, Gerald called me. Voice low. Serious. You're not going to like this, he said. But you need to hear it from me. He told me Mark had gone to see a probate attorney in town. He's saying you're not mentally fit. That you're being manipulated from overseas. That you signed the house over under pressure. He's trying to challenge the trust? I asked, stunned. Not just that. He wants to file for conservatorship. Claims you've been unstable since your wife died. I sat there speechless, staring out at the coast. He was trying to take my freedom. My mind. My damn life. And that's when I snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I made a list. Every single thing he'd done. The fake Zillow listing, the trespassing, the attempt at identity theft, the uninvited access to the garage, the conservatorship attempt. I gathered emails, police reports, photos, bank logs. I also sent a request to the Palermo hospital where I'd completed a routine health check 3 months earlier. Clean bill of mental health. Signed by 2 doctors. I had it translated and notarized. Gerald added it all to the legal file. Then I called a local documentary filmmaker. Not some big shot guy. Just a quiet professional who did personal family stories and legal narratives. I told him everything. We filmed an interview. Just me on a stone bench telling the truth. If anything happens to me, I told him I want people to know what really happened. He asked me why not just cut him out and move on. I looked him dead in the eye and said because my son declared war. And I wasn't done fighting yet. After the conservatorship papers were filed, I flew back to Tennessee. I didn't tell anyone. Not the tenants. Not Lenny. Not even Gerald. I wanted to walk through my old house one last time without being watched. Martha and Jim were kind about it. I showed up on a rainy Tuesday morning, holding an umbrella and a box of pastries. They hugged me like family. The house still smelled like fresh coffee and lemon-scented cleaner. Cleaner than it ever was when Mark lived under that roof. I walked through the rooms slow. My hands touched the old door frames, the chipped paint Connie always meant to fix, the crack in the tile by the sink she used to complain about. I realized it was never about the house. It was about the fact that Mark didn't remember it was a home. He saw it as an asset. I saw it as everything I once had. Gerald met me the next day. We sat in his office while the rain kept falling. He won't stop, Gerald said. He's got a court date. He's hoping to catch you off guard. Paint you like some fragile old man in Italy with no sense of reality. I've got a plan, I said. But it won't be pretty. I filed a lawsuit. Not just for identity theft. For elder abuse. Digital fraud. Real estate fraud. Malicious interference with a legal trust. Mark didn't think I'd do it. He thought I backed down. Thought he was just playing rough family games. But in Tennessee, if someone is found guilty of elder exploitation, they're barred from inheriting anything. The court date came. I walked in with Gerald beside me. I was in a suit. Mark looked like hell, unshaven, twitchy, sweat soaking through his shirt. He didn't even look at me. The judge asked for my testimony. I told her everything. Every step. Every document. When I finished, Gerald handed over a small drive. The courtroom watched a short clip from my documentary interview, the part where I said my son declared war. And I'm still here. Mark's lawyer tried to paint me as emotional, disconnected, grieving. But every accusation fell apart under the weight of the facts. The emails, the fake Zillow listing, the bank fraud. When the judge spoke, her voice was calm but sharp. "I've seen financial abuse before," she said, "but rarely so cold." Mark lost everything. The house? Still in the trust. The will? Sealed against him forever. The court? Barred him from contesting anything I left behind. He also got probation, a massive fine, and a record that'll follow him for the rest of his life. The tenants filed civil charges for trespassing and harassment. He owes them too. As for me, I sold the house 6 months later, not because I needed the money, but because it was time to let it go. Every cent from the sale went to the Connie Whitaker Education Fund. The first scholarship went to a single mom going back to school to become a nurse. I moved back to Italy. Found a small villa outside Palermo. No family. No heirs. Just peace. But one last thing. The documentary? It aired on a regional PBS affiliate in Tennessee under the title "When Family Tries to Rob You Twice, One Retiree's Story." It opened with a shot of me on the balcony sipping wine, and ended with Mark's mugshot. Because sometimes silence isn't protection. It's a warning. And sometimes the last thing a thief expects is for the man they stole from to still be watching. And still writing the ending.